Welcome back to West Texas View.
Welcome back to the West Texas View. Before the break, Ricky Daniels, a parent with a special needs child, was talking about her experience, not only her experience before she was introduced to SHARE, but the SHARE programs for her child with a special need, and also her child, the sibling who helps care for this child. But to continue that conversation, after, was your husband supportive of your bringing, of y'all doing the respite? And did y'all have a good night out that first night?
We did. He was very supportive. He, in fact, pushed me and said, we're going to do this whether you like it or not. I think he recognized better than me that we needed that time away. I think as a mom, we tend to think that no one else can care for our kids, that we're the only ones who know what they need.
Whether they have special needs or
exactly,
not.
Exactly. And so he recognized that for the two of us, we really needed that time because we just didn't have it any other way. We had parents, my parents are in Odessa, and we have family who can care for our kids, but there are just so many times you feel like you can ask for those favors before you start to feel like you're taking advantage. So SHARE has offered just a wonderful place for us to have that one night a month where we can go out and just breathe, take a deep breath and refocus on what's going on around us.
And know that both of your children are not only getting getting fed themselves, but they're also safe and sound.
Right, and oftentimes it's the only time that we have face-to-face, just the two of us in a month. So it's very important in terms of our relationship.
And that's true of any family, whether they're caring for a senior adult, a parent themselves, or whoever. You just need a respite away from the minute-by-minute care that is required. We see this all the time in Alzheimer's patients, and so. But from the very beginning, your husband was 100% supporting, as supportive as a parent.
Yes, absolutely.
Because a lot of times that doesn't happen.
Absolutely. He recognized from the very beginning that this was going to be a long, hard road, and we had to do everything that we could to
pull together
and just be a unit. I mean, in autism alone, and I'm sure with all other special needs out there, the divorce rate is very high, much higher than the general public at large, because there are just so many stresses on your life. It's not you can't always just put your kids in front of the TV and take a few moments to take a breath. So there's a lot of extra stresses on our relationship, and we decided early on that we were going to pull together and not let that come between us.
And that's why I love the story about the sibling that you told earlier, because we forget, as Tom said, they're the forgotten children. The siblings are the forgotten children, and that we don't realize that they're carrying a burden too, and they're carrying also a why question in all of this, and to have all of a sudden to have friends that are in the same situation as they are. And my little nephew would say, I can let my guard down when I'm with someone else who understands what I've gone through. And that's not it being whiny. That's being recognizing that there was a difference in the way our family has to live and the way other families have to.
I think we all have a need to be understood. And I think that as a parent, I often say that when we were diagnosed, we were picked up out of the group of parents as a whole, and we were placed off by ourselves. And so we didn't really have a group of people that we could rely on who understood what was going on in our lives. And that's true of the siblings also. Genevieve was only 4 years old when Charlie was diagnosed, and so she had to learn very early that things were different, and maybe times at her friend's house were quite different than times at her house. And so to have that group of people in Sib Shop who know what she goes through and who understand what normal life is for her, she can just sit back and kind of take in the fact that she doesn't have to explain to anybody there. And when she's around these kids and her sister has a moment, that she doesn't have to explain it to them, they already understand.
But the other interesting thing is that you have, your family has this special bond that is usually not within a family without a special needs. And you as a parent don't really have the availability to talk to other parents about your children because most of them are uncomfortable talking to you about a child with a special need because they don't know how to talk to you. So then you're getting to be with other families that have special needs has just been an added blessing.
That's true. That's true. To be able to talk with other families, especially with families who maybe are newly diagnosed. We've been walking this road now for 5 years, and we've been with Share for 5 years. And so while it's not old hat to us, certainly there's lots left to learn. We have walked that road of being newly diagnosed. And what do you do first? What do you do next? Where do you go to get help? And what do you do in terms of treatment and those options? So to talk to people who have been newly diagnosed, it really helps you to realize how far you've come and that you're actually putting one foot in front of the other and making it through every day, and that life is not so bad.
And that would be the first thing most parents, I think, would ask themselves is, can we do this?
Yes. Oh,
and so to see you and to see the joy and the blessings that you've received from this would really be meaningful to someone who was had a brand new diagnosis. But tell me what you think when you see parents like this just blossoming and taking hold of the services that you offer.
It's wonderful because, you know, we see families and parents that are doing it by themselves and trying to make it work on their own. But when they come to Share and they meet other parents that are in similar situations and share stories and share resources, they realize that there are other people out there that are going through the same thing. And it just gives our families a lot of strength knowing that they have other people they can talk to, and they have a community of people that they can
call on if they've got something. But you said something really interesting. You said you had watched parents come into the program, and it was just almost like you could see their shoulders straightening up, and all of a sudden the burden being lessened on their shoulders and back.
Right, and that's kind of what Share does. We share that. We partner with parents and families to share that burden. We can't fix it. We can't make it go away, but we can make it easier.
And I keep emphasizing this because it's just so hard for me to believe that all of this is without cost. And that's what we have to keep saying. We're going to have to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment, and we certainly want to thank Ricky Daniels for sharing her story with us and with other parents. We'll see you in just a minute.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.